Thank you for joining me today again for another Bay Focus program. And we are going to highlight two ministries here today in the Bay Area that have far-reaching effects. They're based here in the Bay Area, but they minister around the world. We're going to introduce you to a ministry called Christian Retreat. For those of you that may not be familiar with this ministry in Bradenton, Florida, that has a retreat center there, but they also minister around the world as well. And we're going to show you the grounds there and take you there, and then also meet a couple of the gentlemen that work for the ministry. You may be familiar with them. They do have a program here on the Christian television network called Reality, but you'll find out more about them today here on Bay Focus. But first of all, I want to introduce you to a ministry called Seekers of Souls, SOS. I love that. That struck me. That's such a creative and unique title. SOS Ministries, and they minister to our international students here at our universities and colleges here in the Bay Area. And I want to introduce to you three people that are with me today to represent SOS Ministries. First of all, of course, the director and founder, Mike Schott. Thank you so much for joining us today on Bay Focus. And then I got to get this right. And next to you is Gabriel Alves, right, from Brazil. And you are a student at St. Petersburg College.
Yes.
And then we have Sanjeev Jha. Did I get that right?
Very good.
Okay. From Nepal,
Yes.
and you're a student at USF.
That's correct.
Thank you so much for being with us today. And Mike, these are examples of some of the young people that you minister to. But I have to tell you, before we talk about SOS Ministries, I first saw your ministry and heard about it in a very large, very positive article in the newspaper about SOS Ministries. And what the paper focused on, and we just want to talk briefly about, is you went and ministered to the firefighters and workers and families at Ground Zero about a week after everything happened in New York. What led you to do that?
Well, the call of the Lord. Who can resist him? It is my desire to simply reach out to people who are not only suffering and hurting, and hence the ministry of SOS Ministries is that there's a sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if there's ever been a sense of urgency to the gospel being needed and being preached and being proclaimed and people being comforted, it was such a time as the terrorist attacks that happened September 11th.
Did you just call and go? You worked with some chaplains up there, right?
That's
as
correct.
A minister.
Actually, it's kind of a long story.
Yeah.
It started as a result of a ministry in Sydney, Australia. When I was in Sydney, Australia, ministering to athletes, and a mutual friend had put me in contact with a chaplain up in Staten Island, which they took the biggest loss of, about 135 firemen. And so he was desperately seeking people just to come up and provide words of comfort and encouragement from the scriptures.
Well, that is wonderful. And they even so appreciated your ministry up there that they had you back for a special memorial service, correct?
About 3 weeks ago,
yes,
correct.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I think that, what a tremendous testimony, how God used you. But here again, what flagged me when I saw was this SOS, Seekers of Souls. What is the purpose and vision of SOS?
Well, according to the scriptures, the Lord is coming back. And
yes,
it's praise the Lord for that.
Yes.
And so it's our desire to simply obey the command of the Lord, to go out to those who are lost without him, those who will spend an eternity separated from him. And if you will, we do the seeking, God does the saving. And so that's our desire, is to just simply be vessels used of him, just empty, broken jars of clay, worms that we are,
yes.
And saved. But it is our desire to simply go and reach those who are lost and proclaim to them the Bible message of Jesus Christ.
And you particularly target young people that come to our colleges, and you're a minister, so you have a heart for this, and you've traveled the world yourself. But you target young people. Now, you sent me a brochure that I just thought was excellent. I'm going to take a couple things I want you to respond from it. Your goals with these young people: to befriend, to evangelize, to go on short-term missions trips, to mobilize the local church. Those are like four thrust areas. How tough is it to do the befriending? You're talking about cultural situations here, possible barriers too you're dealing with these. Has that been a successful thing?
Well, actually, I myself was a foreigner in a strange land. My family, my beautiful wife Sandy, and my 2 little boys, we were missionaries in Italy, and so we know what it's like to be a stranger living in a foreign land. And so having that, you know, coming back to America, it was our desire to simply, knowing that what they're going through, as far as, like you said, their cultural barriers, their, you know, school issues, language issues. So it was simply our desire, and actually we haven't had too big of a problem because they're longing for a friend. They're actually seeking for a friend and somebody just, you know, to love them. And essentially just to minister to them. So it's actually a great privilege.
And don't you actually find families too that will take them and bring them home for a meal? And
that's right. Thank you for bringing that up. That's one of the biggest things of our ministry. The biggest aspects is what we call friendship families. Simply families to adopt and to love, to care for, to feed. You know, it's been said to me that the greatest way to an international student's heart is through his belly. And so,
or even a national person.
That's right. That's true. And so that's our desire, is to simply become their friend, like me and you. Like we would become a friend. We would go out, you know, maybe have dinner together. We would do things the same way with these international students. We just spend an incredible amount of time with them.
And foot in the door, and then you share Jesus with them.
Correct.
There's an opportunity, and the colleges let you do this. That's amazing to me.
That is an amazing thing.
Oh, it's wonderful.
God, and once again, Revelation 3 talks about that the doors God opens, no man can shut, and the doors He shuts, no man can open. So He has opened an incredible door right now at St. Petersburg College, and many thanks to Dr. Rao and Dr. Cutler, the president and the provost at the college. So I'm just so grateful for them and their willingness and their desire to have us have a presence on the campus.
Okay, and we're going to talk a bit more about SOS, but I want to talk to the students you brought with you, because this is really where, you know, I hate these cliches, but I can't think of anything else. Rubber meets the road. This is where it really comes home. You're touching these kids, and you brought two with you today. I want to talk first of all with Gabriel. And Gabriel, you are from Brazil.
Yes.
Right. Tell me what SOS Ministries has meant to you.
Well, when I came here, I was a Christian in Brazil, and I worked in my church. I was a youth leader, and I never had contact with so many internationals as I'm having in my school. And when I saw the work that SOS Ministry is doing, and the opportunity that we have to just share the gospel with so many students, and SOS Ministry is really put in my heart a really desire to go and to help them and to really preach the gospel to, and to see the influence and that we can make in the world, just work with international students. And I'm an international student, and I really want to make impact, because I know what Jesus means to me, and it's really amazing, like how like we have people from, just in a small group of 30 people, we can have 20 countries like represented, and SOS Ministries and Mike has been a really encouragement for me in my campus. We are in different campuses to make a really great.
That's wonderful. Yeah, because St. Petersburg College has a couple campuses, and which one are you on?
I'm in Gibbs campus.
Yeah, Gibbs campus. Okay, now let me get over here too to Sanjeev. You're at USF.
Yes.
What has SOS Ministries meant to you?
USF. Even though I go to USF, I met him at St. Petersburg College, and I had heard about him before through the international counselor at Clearwater campus. And after I got to know him, he's been a great source of inspiration for me to grow and walk on the life of Christ, and to educate more myself to know the Christ. And my prior experience with Christianity was nothing back home, Nepal. No church exists. It was never existed about 12 years ago. But I always found myself seeker, and I was always seeking and praying. And just last November, about a year ago, I got saved. And,
wonderful.
And I've been very grateful. I see my life, and now I'd like to share my life to other people, maybe someday back home. And through Mike's, the works that he has done, and the examples of international students returning home and forming their own ministry. Maybe someday, if Lord is willing, I'll be able to do that back my own country.
Well, you know, this is, and I mean, quickly, Mike, you shared with me a story about El Salvador, how you reach these kids here and they take it back home. Tell us about that.
Quickly?
Yeah, okay. I know. I'm always running out of time, but we do have a few minutes left.
Sure. The first group of students that I met that came to the college were from Latin America. One student from El Salvador. He was immediately befriended, loved. I helped teach him English. He was evangelized. We shared the gospel message of Jesus Christ with him. He became a true believer, repented of his sins. He turned to the Lord. And as a result of that, he returned to his homeland. He was a medical student, so when he returned, very respected in his country, like these gentlemen would be if they were to return to their countries. And he asked the mayor of the city if a group of Americans could come down and share this message that he learned in America with his entire city in Rosario de la Paz, right outside the capital, San Salvador. And so we were invited down about 14 months ago, and ever since then we've brought about 4 or 5 teams down. It's just been an awesome opportunity to see God working in the hearts of his people who allow their lives to be changed through Jesus Christ. And so churches have been planted in these various villages where he lives. Our ministry continues. And we actually were down there during the earthquake at the beginning of the year, hence SOS, living up to its name of reaching to those who are hurting and suffering the most in this world.
And this is one student. You touched one student who went back and caused all that effect, going to on fire for God, to even walk up to the mayor and say, you know, we do this, one student at a time. Can you share with our viewers how they can get involved in this ministry? There may be some key areas that they can, because if I were watching this at home, I didn't even know there was a ministry like this to our international students. And what a way to sow into our young people. How can our viewers get involved?
Well, first of all, is the Friendship Family. If anybody desires a godly, walking, fearing family in the Pinellas County area, we would love to have you come and adopt an international student. There are many. Also, we are looking for people to help in our once-a-month luncheons that we have actually on the campus. We're about 80 are in attendance. We're also looking for anywhere from a four-door passenger car to a 15-passenger van that we even need for the ministry and taking some of these students around. And so primarily it would be not only the need for a car, but the need for a friendship family. And so just somebody to love them enough to share the Bible message of Jesus with them.
You know, and Mike, is this what you're doing full-time in ministry here, plus out speaking and ministering?
That is correct.
Yeah,
yes,
so, you know, our viewers could bless the whole ministry, bless your family, and you have a family and some gorgeous children that I've seen too, so what a way to get involved. And you all, literally, the love of Jesus just radiates off of you guys. So I want to thank you all for being with us today here on Bay Focus. You've just really, really ministered to me, and I know you guys are reaching the kids, young people, men, women, on our campuses. And I want to encourage you to do that, continue to do that, and take the gospel home to you. Thank you all so much for being on Bay Focus. And I want to encourage you watching too here today. What a great ministry to get involved in, planting seeds in our young people and seeing these young people from around the world reached here on our campuses. Stay tuned now for more of Bay Focus.
To find out more about Mike Schott and Seekers of Souls, SOS Ministries, call 727-631-0990, or you can write to SOS Ministries, P.O. Box 16712, Clearwater, Florida 33766. You can also send your emails to sosm@intnet.net.